What's up, happy people? It's me, it's Zane, co-host of the Mystic Frightcast, coming to you live. Look, we did not record a new episode this week. McKenna was sick. I had midterms. It was just not all around the best week. So, instead, we took it upon ourselves to release for the first time our test episode that we did many months ago, to just send out to our friends and family and be like, is this something that you would listen to? I never showed it to anyone until, we showed it to the people that it is mentioned, but we haven't released it yet until now. So that's what you're about to hear. The audio quality is probably much worse than it is now. It was the first thing that we ever did, so excuse that, please. That being said, it is a fun episode. It was a lot of fun to record. You get to hear us kind of getting our footing a little bit and figuring out what the podcast is going to be. It sounds a little bit different than it does now, but it's still good. And it'll be a fun little sneak peek into the process of how Mystic Frightcast came to be. It is on the show, or the movie, The Haunting, the original 1962? I should have looked that up before this. 1963, directed by Robert Wise, who directed West Side Story. I actually just rewatched this yesterday, day before, something. I rewatched it very recently. Still very good. It really is one of the best, if not the best, haunted house movies. I actually asked that question on Instagram, and what did you guys say? Let's see. 100% yes. Yeah, it is the best haunting movie, but best haunted house movie, I would say, probably based off of the best haunted house book that has ever been written, The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. Really fantastic read as well. I'd also recommend the TV show. It's pretty good. Yeah, what else is up? What else is going on? I've started doing movie reviews on my personal page, at the Zane DeYoung. I'll have 2 up by the time this goes up. They're just short little reviews because I watch a lot of movies. As I posted earlier, I've watched about the equivalent of one movie every day for the last 6 or 7 years. So I have a pretty big back catalog in my head, and I continue to do that. And I also love writing, so I decided why not just write a little quick something about the movies. It's also kind of a challenge for me, a personal challenge for me, forcing me to be very concise and entertaining in my writing. So it's like a good thing, a good exercise for myself, and hopefully fun for you. So you can follow me on there. I'll also probably share a couple of them on our Mystic Frightcast page if they kind of cross over, if they're in the same genre that we cover. But I watch a lot of movies, not just horror movies, and that's an outlet for me to talk about them. So other than that, not a whole lot new going on. The quarter for me is almost over. I have a couple more weeks left. I'll be turning 23 pretty soon too, which is, wow, older than I would like to be, kind of. I think I'm pretty well along in my life, though. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? This is all relative. People just do things at their own pace, and you can't really subscribe to the idea that there's a set amount of time for you to accomplish X, Y, and Z, because everyone's different, and everyone has different priorities and a different life than you, and just whatever you want to do, and however long you want to do it for, is totally up to you. So don't even get yourself down about that shit. Not even a thing. Ain't nothing but a thing. Oh, we saw a couple movies this last week. New movies. We saw Detective Pikachu, and we saw Long Shot. Long Shot, I think, is actually my favorite movie of the year. I know. What? A Seth Rogen movie, favorite of the year? Holy cow. What is this? But it's really, really fun and funny and sweet and heartfelt and well written and well acted. Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron have some really excellent chemistry. It's just a joy to watch, just an absolute joy. It had a little bit of political messaging that I understood why it was there, but it was a little it simplified the problem, so to speak. But it was very good. I think it might be my favorite movie of the year. I was looking at the new releases I've seen, And honestly, I've been pretty underwhelmed, rather, with all of them. I did like Us. I thought that was very good. Pet Sematary was okay. Endgame was, it's a Marvel movie, right? It's fine. But is not going to make a lasting impression on me whatsoever. I haven't, Infinity War I really liked, but that was the first one that I really liked in years. I'm just not super into them, not super into comic book movies in general. I think they're fine, but I'm kind of easing off now that this whole Marvel thing is, the movies that I've been watching at least have kind of come to a conclusion. Don't think I'm going to go see Spider-Man. I'm not going to see whatever other stuff they got coming out, because I'm just done. Maybe I'll go see the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, because those ones are good. But kind of easing off the old comic book movie train. Didn't see Shazam. Don't know if I'll see Wonder Woman 2. Maybe I'll go see the Joker movie. But we'll see. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Movies don't matter that much. Which is weird coming from someone who watches so many of them. But I guess, yeah. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Long Shot was probably my favorite movie of the year. I rate all the movies that I see. I write them down and give them a little rating, and that is the only one that has an A so far. And Detective Pikachu was fun. It was fun. That was my first Pokemon thing that I've ever interacted with, and I thought that it was good. Like a 6 or a 6.5. Which, for me, is good. Not much coming out this year, guys. It's pretty lax, pretty slow. That being said, there were a couple things that I missed. I really wanted to see this movie called Climax when it was in theaters, directed by Gaspar Noé. He was a very interesting filmmaker. This looked very interesting, but it just came and went so fast. That's the thing. When movies are just dominated by these mega blockbuster movies, those are the ones that stay in theaters for, months, and then everything else is just comes and goes in a week if you get it in a theater near you at all. But I think Arrow Video has already done a release of it, which is awesome. I'm gonna have to pick that up. And then the other one that I would like to see a lot that didn't even get a release here is called Under the Silver Lake, with Andrew Garfield's David Robert Mitchell's follow-up to It Follows, which I was not a big fan of, but this looked very odd, and supposedly is very odd. So I kind of want to check it out. But we'll see. See if I can get my hands on it. That's what I got for you. Next week, we are going to be collaborating with the fantastic NVD Reviews on Instagram on the movie Brightburn, to review the movie Brightburn. It's a little bit of a superhero, a little bit of a horror. Superman, he comes to Earth, but he's a baddie. It looks interesting. It could be good. It could be bad. Who knows these days? We just live in a crazy whirlwind of a time. Who knows? But that'll be fun. It'll be nice to collaborate with someone. So look for that. We'll be uploading again next Sunday, and we will, I'm sure, drop more details of the collab here shortly in the coming week. Other than that, just go check out his page. He does some good, fun time movie reviews. They're very brief, very informative. He has a good blend of actual critique and also just putting in his personal opinion, which makes them engaging. They're fun, and he reviews all the new release movies, and also does a bunch of stuff on his Instagram story. Wow, I'm becoming quite the social media savant. I really knew nothing about it until we started doing this podcast, and I got really involved, and now I'm really involved, and I don't know how I feel about it. I spend more time, certainly than I used to, on social media. I don't know if I spend more time than I should. I feel like I balance it pretty well with living my actual life and reading and, participating in art and such things. That's what I got for you. Head on over to my Instagram page at the Zane DeYoung for just general movie reviews for any of you film buffs in the audience. Head on over to NVD Reviews for new release movies. I probably won't be doing as many of those. I'll do them when I see them. But honestly, as of right now, not a whole lot on the horizon. And on that note, I think I'll end this little introduction. This went on for a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I got some stuff to say, so here you go. Enjoy this episode on The Haunting, our first ever test episode. Get into it, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Bum, 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 bum. Mr. Sandman.
No.
No.
No, but we should do it with the tiptoe through the window. No, it's window.
It's window first?
It's window.
When does he say tiptoe through the tulips?
He doesn't.
Yes, he does.
No, he
That's
doesn't.
part of the song.
It's tiptoe through the window. It's not through the tulips.
Yeah, it is.
There's something else about tulips, but it isn't tiptoe
it's
through
tiptoe through the tulips.
No, it's not.
You're wrong.
No.
Welcome to our first test for the Mystic Frightcast. I am your co-host, Zane.
I am McKenna. I wasn't sure if you were going to introduce me or if I needed to introduce myself.
Okay, so what's up, dude?
Well, my back hurts really fucking bad. Hoping herbal tea will heal my body.
It probably won't, but
What do you mean?
you never know. We got pizza.
I'm just really excited for this pizza. I'm confused, though.
Why are you confused?
Well, because it said stuffed crust, so I thought there would just be cheese in the crust. But I think it's the whole pizza that's stuffed.
Okay, well,
What about you? How are you?
I'm good. Yeah. Not much hippity happening over in my corner of the table. It's awkward because I feel like we have to define who we are as personalities. So I feel like this will be a time of adjustment and growing discomfort for both of us.
Yes.
As we learn to navigate the radio waves.
Because people are listening to us.
I
mean, assumedly. We don't know yet.
Yeah, I mean, they're not right now. It's going to be... Who's going to listen to this? Probably, like, your dad.
Clara.
And then probably Andrew at Target. I'm going to make him listen to it.
Okay.
Hi, Andrew. This message is coming to you from beyond the grave!
Oh, why beyond the grave? Are you going to kill him?
No, he's going to kill me.
So you're speaking to him beyond the grave.
Yeah.
I understand.
So you have to send this to him.
I guess it really wouldn't
me.
make sense if the message was beyond the grave and he was dead.
Yeah,
because he's not speaking. Yeah, I guess we should explain what the fuck we're doing here.
Yeah, well, I had a mom and a dad, and they... Too far back? Well...
No, not far back enough.
Oh. Well, they had a mom and a dad.
80 years later.
I never really watched SpongeBob.
No, you're not going to understand any of the references that I made.
Nope.
Because you didn't participate in pop culture in the late 90s, early 2000s.
I did, but I participated in good pop culture. So.
Wow.
This is our podcast. We gonna talk about horror-themed media.
Encompassing movies and television shows, books, and maybe some comic books, and board games, and video games, and any other form of game or moving picture.
Probably some weeks there will be more of a cohesive theme to what we talk about.
But most likely not.
Most likely not. If this is any indication, we've been just blathering for 11 minutes now.
It's not only been 11 minutes.
It feels like hours.
It's exhausting to talk to you. I just feel like I spent all my mental energy.
Yeah.
Just trying to keep a conversation going with you.
Okay, Mom.
Yikes. That's a complex if I've ever heard one. A lot of people do call me Mother, though, so...
Just like strangers? Hello, Mother.
No, Clara, one of our only listeners.
That's funny because a lot of people call me Daddy.
I think that might have a different implication than mom.
I don't think so. Unless I was really misreading the situation. Yeah, if any of these jokes have landed, please let us know. We're not above directly pandering to whoever's listening to this. So we just watched a movie.
We did.
Not even 30 minutes ago.
No, well, we've been here for 15 minutes.
It was
so, yeah.
Yeah, you had to pee first, though.
I did.
So that took a while.
I'm so sorry that my bladder had to relieve itself.
Okay. This is how I am when I'm around my friends. Mm-hmm. And it's weird to, like, do this around you. Because I don't feel compelled to, like, be particularly funny, usually.
Well, yeah, because we're been together for a while.
I think my humor is largely a coping mechanism for, like, not a coping mechanism, but a defense mechanism and a way to, like, keep people out because I don't like to open myself up to anyone. I really like to just keep it all in.
Yep. Well, even to me. So you don't feel like you need to be funny because
I feel comfortable around you, and I feel I'm fine being boring around you because you're not gonna leave.
Yeah, I feel like I'm incredibly boring like 90% of the time. So.
We really just turn it on when we're not around each other.
It's true.
So, you know,
it's like a detox when we get home and it's just us, and we can sit in silence for 2 hours and not have to.
Yeah. Remember when we saw And That's Why We Drink the other night?
Yeah.
We got there like an hour before the show started, and we literally just sat on our phones for that entire time. Did not say one word to each other.
No. But it's totally fine.
It's fine. I'm fine.
I didn't feel compelled like I needed to.
No, exactly. I didn't feel like I needed to say anything.
Although sometimes, but like, what the fuck do people talk about? I see people like sitting at restaurants and they're like talking the entire time, and that gives me so much anxiety. Like,
it puts the pressure on.
Like, how do people find topics of conversation to talk about?
I don't know. Maybe they just like each other more. It doesn't sound good when I say that it's because I just don't feel like I have to put in a lot of effort, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because conversations with people.
I guess we did that when we started dating.
Yeah.
And now we're like.
We've pretty much talked about anything we're going to talk about. So what more?
We're going to be those really boring fucking old people.
Yeah.
That just sit in silence.
I mean, we pretty much already are.
I know. It's a dim look into our future.
So maybe this is just...
this is an outlet for us to actually have a conversation.
Yeah. It'd make us closer.
Okay, we watched a movie.
We watched a movie called The Haunting.
Yes, we did.
It is one of 5 adaptations of a book.
I only know of the 2.
There's the book.
Yeah.
The book is called The Haunting of Hill House. It was written by Shirley Jackson, which was then turned into the movie The Haunting, which was then Stephen King adapted it into a book called Ripped Something. Not a book, a show that isn't doesn't really have anything to do with it anymore, but he got the idea from the movie.
Okay.
And he tried to do a straight adaptation, but no one wanted to do it. So he just did his own thing, and then the movie was remade in 1999 with Liam Neeson and Owen Wilson. And
The Haunting?
Yeah. Apparently it's so bad. I should have pulled up some clips to show you. I might actually do that and just pause recording for a little bit, just so you can really soak it in.
Oh, Owen Wilson.
Yeah. Just soak in as much Owen Wilson as...
I can't even imagine Owen Wilson trying to do a horror film. I would just be distracted by his nose the entire time.
Wow.
Wow.
It's a ghost.
Wow.
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 And then it was made into the show, Netflix show,
which is fucking great.
Mega successful Netflix show.
I mean, it was good, though.
Yeah, it was really good. I think the show might be my favorite iteration of the material.
Yeah.
Although the movie...
Well, because you've read the book, too, which I haven't, because I don't fucking read.
The Haunting, 1963, baby.
So, 63.
Yeah.
It was black and white.
Yeah.
Did they have color film?
Yes.
So they just chose to do the black and white.
Yeah.
When did color film happen?
The Wizard of Oz. Well, actually,
which
like
was
1930
30s.
something.
Oh, wow. Okay.
1930 something. They had a color film since like 1920, but it was a really expensive and lengthy process to like do it. So the first like big 1939 was The Wizard of Oz. That was the first like big foray into color.
Yeah.
But also, black and white film was a lot cheaper than color film, which I have a hunch is why this was shot in black and white, because I looked it up and it had a budget of $1 million.
I mean, that sounds like a lot of money to me. But I know nothing about
Not
movies.
for Hollywood. Although, when adjusted for inflation, that's about $12.5 million, which is a modestly budgeted horror movie. So it might have just been an artistic choice made by...
I mean, I don't
Wise.
know if it was supposed to feel this way, but like there were the way that, because it's a horror film, so there's like dramatic lighting and weird shadows, and I feel like it was just really hard to like tell what was in the shot, because also like the houses like got so much stuff happening in it that I couldn't, like, I didn't know where to look when I was watching the film.
I think that was intentional.
You think so?
I think that was very intentional.
I don't like it. But I felt like it was hard to, like, keep focus because, like, my eye was darting all over the place and didn't know where to look.
That was very intentional, because he used really wide depth of fields in it. So you could see, like, everything in the frame. And this is 1963, so they had the technology to do other stuff.
I didn't mind the fact that it was, like, disorienting, but I didn't, like... I don't know, I felt like it was hard to concentrate. And also, we've discussed before that, you know, I have a hard time with black and white movies.
Have we discussed that? I don't know why. I love black and white's gorgeous.
I think it's really pretty for, like, a short period of time, but then it just, like, keeps going on, and it just, like, it doesn't hold my attention. So...
You're one of those millennials. You need everything right now. You need that color on demand, baby.
Yeah.
See, this is why it's good that we have both of us. Because I'm a really annoying film buff, person, and you're more relatable to the youth.
Yes, I'm here for the only reason to relate to millennials.
You said, not me.
You literally said it right before I did.
I don't know what you're talking. I thought. Forgive me being pretentious for a second, but I thought the reason that everything was kind of like in focus and there was so much in the frame was because the house was basically like a character. The house was the villain of the movie.
Yeah.
The house felt there in every shot.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that's why that was done.
That makes sense.
There were only really like two scary things in it.
I thought the door breathing was really fucking creepy.
I didn't like that. I mean, I liked it, like, as it was good.
Yeah.
But I didn't like that. That was very, like, unpleasant to watch. It just felt gross.
It did.
Yeah.
Well, because it was, like, obviously, like, they just, like, built the door out of, like, foam or something.
Right.
But it was... I don't know, when you're, like, sitting in the dark or laying in the dark or whatever, and, like, your eyes, like, adjust to the dark, and then it looks like things are, like, moving, or the blackness is moving.
Yeah.
That's how it felt, and it was super creepy.
Yeah. It felt, it made the house feel alive. It was like that was like its heart. You were watching kind of the walls of its heart expand and contract.
What was the other part that you...
When the attic door opened, and the wife was there. That freaked me out.
It didn't necessarily scare me as much, but I was confused because I was like, I didn't get like a good look at her because she was all like, she looked really different because she was all like dirty and stuff, and I was like, who was that?
Well, I think that it wasn't like, I don't know, maybe scary is like the wrong word to describe this movie because I don't think it's particularly scary.
No, but it's tense.
It's tense and it's very like unsettling, and the book is the same way. It's from the perspective of someone going crazy, because she was clearly like she's not right, like from the first scene that you're introduced to her.
Yeah, absolutely. When I thought I guess that we should maybe talk about the plot of this movie before we start dissecting it. Just to kind of start it off, I thought the parallel between like her mother and the mother of the house. Yeah. So like when her mom was asking for help and she didn't go help her and she died, and then like the other woman,
was the same thing
it was the same thing in the other house when the caretaker was like off smooching her boy.
Yeah.
and didn't hear the woman, like, asking for help, and then she died.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting.
In the book, Theo is basically, like, calls her out on that and is like, that didn't happen, you just made that up. And it's implied that she's just going crazy. And she's kind of finding, like, similarities between herself and the house. Because she wants to be more a part of the house.
Interesting.
That was actually a part of the book that they pretty much cut out. Like, they talked about how she wanted to become a part of the house.
Yeah.
But in the book, there was a lot more of, like, her memories are kind of getting confused with stuff, with the history of the house. And she's kind of, like, almost teleporting between rooms.
Huh.
Not literally teleporting,
but yeah.
The book does a really good job of kind of subtly showing her becoming part of the house.
Yeah, so we're less of her, like, wanting to, like, be part of the house and more of her, like, actually becoming.
Yeah. And everything at the end, well, not everything, but the fact that she wants to be part of the house doesn't come into play until the very end of the book. Like, the last, like, chapter. And I feel like that was more...
That was, like, the
about halfway through the movie
yeah.
that they started doing that.
Do you want to give since we've been talking about this movie,
yeah.
no one knows, if they haven't seen the movie, they don't know what we're talking about.
So there's a house called Hill House, which is a haunted mansion that has a gruesome history, and a professor decides to live there for a couple weeks to make a study on whether or not it's haunted, and he
basically a paranormal investigation.
Yeah, but this was before that, like,
was
anyone would know what that was.
Yeah.
So he enlists the help of Eleanor and Theo, who are they've both had paranormal experiences, and so he brings them along with him, and then the son, or the nephew of the woman who owns the house is there too. So they get to the house, and then it is haunted, and Eleanor starts losing her marbles and kind of becoming possessed by the spirit of the house, I would say.
Yeah. Well, and so what happened at the house is, like, this guy built it. On the way to the house, his first wife, like, died. And then he got married. Well, so he had a kid with that woman. And she died, like, before she even reached the house.
Right. She died in the carriage.
Yes. And because the horses didn't want to, like, go to the house, so they freaked out and ran into a tree. And then the second wife, like, mysteriously fell down the stairs.
Which we never found out why.
Yeah, no, we don't know why. It's just assumed that something paranormal didn't want her there. The little girl grew up and ended up being the old woman who died. And she had a caretaker that didn't take care of her because she died on her account. And then she went crazy because she inherited the house and then just kind of lost her marbles and killed herself. And then that's when the woman who currently owns the house took over it.
And then the newcomers arrive.
Mm-hmm.
And Eleanor, the house possesses her to kill her. So she'll kind of, like, randomly try to kill herself, basically.
Yeah, well, and I think that's, like, the house is trying to get her to kill herself so that she's stays with the house forever.
Yeah.
So she, like, actually becomes part of the house.
Yeah. So basically, if you've watched the episode of The Haunting of Hill House that's about Nell, that's basically what this is.
Yeah, I thought the movie was good, but I like the structure of the TV show.
The show is much more emotional.
It is.
And much more actually scary.
I think that's why I relate to it. Yeah.
And we're back.
We had to take a quick pizza break. I forgot what we were talking about.
Who cares? Eleanor. Hi, Kate.
Wanted to become a part of the house.
As we all do sometimes. Relatable. I wrote down some facts. I didn't get very far. This, as I said before, this was directed by Robert Wise, who directed West Side Story and the science fiction classic The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Oh, really?
Remade into a Keanu Reeves movie.
I think I've only seen the Keanu Reeves version.
It's not that good.
No.
It was written by Nelson Gidding. He wrote Casablanca, not the movie, both iterations of the TV show, which you probably didn't know existed.
I didn't.
Neither did I. I was looking up the people who made this movie. There was one in the 1950s and one in the 1980s.
Was it necessary to have two?
According to Nelson Gidding, there were a couple themes that I wanted to touch on. Specifically, lesbianism. Because it was pretty heavily implied that Theo had a
girlfriend.
Yeah. And that she was interested in Eleanor.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very interesting. Yeah, that's in the book.
Well, because, like, I remember the scene where Theo said something about, like, when I get back, like, she used, like, we for whatever she was talking about.
Yeah.
Nellie was like, or I guess they call her Nellie, but Eleanor in the movie versus Nellie in the film, or in the TV show, was like, oh, are you married? And she was like, no. And it was super awkward.
Yeah. Yeah. The actress who played Theo, I thought, was really good.
And she looks really similar to the actress that plays Theo in
she does.
the TV show.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, wow. Like, in some shots, they looked like they could be identical. I love a good gay anything.
I'll do gay anything.
Gay anything and everything.
Yeah,
is for me.
It was pretty interesting to see that in a movie in 1963. It was a very
when was the book written?
1950 something.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Shirley Jackson's work was all her work was very, like, female centric, and I think a lot of what's up?
We love it.
Yeah, we do.
It also, I think, passes the Bechdel test.
Oh, definitely.
And for a movie made in the 60s.
Yeah.
Passing the Bechdel test.
1959 was when the book was published.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it was a very, very focused on the relationship between Nell and Theo in the movie. Although the relationship between Nell and the professor, I thought, was also really interesting. They were clearly into each other.
And he was married. Well, and then obviously in the TV show, Theo's gay.
Yeah, just flat out.
Flat out, very explicitly gay.
Yeah.
Which, again, we love. You can't see it, but I just really did it.
You got into it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
There was a facial expression that happened.
Yeah.
I liked the dynamic because it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel it was fantasizing anything. It just felt like that's how it was, and that's how it was gonna be.
Yeah. Well, and it was very,
and that's how it is in the TV show too. Like,
it's just a part of her character.
Yeah,
it's not her defining characteristic.
Exactly.
The show's really good. The show, I think the creator Mike Flanagan described the show as a remix of the source material.
Oh, totally.
Which is an apt and interesting way of looking at it.
Well, yeah, because instead of like a bunch of strangers, it's like a family. So I think it's a little bit of a more interesting dynamic because it's these people that they have lived with and grown up with their entire life compared to like complete strangers that you know nothing about. Yeah,
but I mean, a lot of the dynamic that's in the movie carries over from the book. And Shirley Jackson was very, almost like singularly focused on people doing unexplainable things. And that's what the movie is.
Yeah.
I think it's not explained in the movie, but it's understood.
Yeah.
So I don't mind the lack of backstory on the people in the movie. Because it's very focused on Eleanor.
Yeah.
And it's on her unraveling.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I meant was that I thought it was interesting more the dynamic because it was a family dynamic compared to stranger dynamic because like these people already knew like how these people functioned. So even if like we didn't know when we were learning about them, like we could learn about them through the family because they were already familiar with their mannerisms, whatever.
Right.
And they kept saying, like, it's almost like we're sisters, and then they're sisters in the TV show, and I was like, whoa, that's like some major foreshadowing. Like, because they kept saying it too, and it felt very foreshadowing, even though obviously they didn't know that the TV show was going to come out in 2018 on Netflix. But like, it gave that impression. It's like almost like they set it up in a way to like do that in the future.
Well, I think that Mike Flanagan was just really good about cherry picking moments that felt iconic.
Yeah.
From the movie and putting them in the show in ways that feel iconic. Because there are a lot of lines that are lifted right from the movie too.
Yeah.
And right from the book as well.
Yeah. But a lot of lines, and then there's also a lot of like little things, like in the very first scene when the first wife dies of that guy, and they're having like I guess it's just a funeral for the two of them in their house with the dead woman, because there's like literally no one else there.
He makes the daughter like stare at the dead body.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because in the TV show, when their mother kills herself...
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so when their mother kills herself at the same balcony on the same staircase as the caretaker in the movie, the kids don't want to look at her. The dad like made them do it, basically.
You can almost look at it like kind of the echoes of what Shirley Jackson wrote permeating through these like generations. It is interesting that all of these iterations of the source material are like about the same house. And I know it's not a real house, but it gives it this sense of like time.
Yeah.
That I think is really interesting to watch these same, kind of same themes and same events play out through different artists, through different time periods, and kind of what the source material means to these different people.
Yeah. Well, because I almost, like, when I was watching the movie, because obviously I've seen the TV show first, so I have kind of like it's almost like I saw into the future, and now I'm, like, seeing the backstory of the house. Like, it almost felt like this was, like, a prerequisite. Like this is, like, the history of the house that happened before the family moved in.
Yeah.
For the TV show.
I like that they chose Flanagan chose to set his show now.
Yeah.
As opposed to just remaking the time period of either the book or the movie.
Yeah.
Because it does make it feel that way, that like this is almost the like chapter 1.
Yeah.
And then or the introduction.
Sure.
To the show.
Yeah.
Even though like some of the names are the same and some of the lines are the same. So it's not literally a prequel, but it kind of works in that way.
Yeah. Well, and I mean it could be. It, like, I think there's a lot of... It could be a really interesting, like, time period if there was, like, another Nellie and another Luke and another Theo in that house at the same time. And maybe that's why they were all... Because the three of them were, like, the most affected in the house.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, it could, like, be hanging on to them because, like, there's already been people there. But...
Hill House Conspiracy.
Okay, so I have a question. Is the book, like, related or based off of anything? No. Or is it just pure...
It's an original work.
I was really hoping that there's a true story there.
No. No, the closest thing was that I read an interview with Shirley Jackson where she was saying that she read an account of a group of scientists who went into a haunted house to do a study on it. And it just occurred to her how, like, insane and fucking bananas that was. But
that's really interesting.
That became the idea of the
Hill
book.
House.
Yeah.
That's really interesting that, like, she's a skeptic and still wrote this. I feel like oftentimes people who are interested in paranormal shit is because they actually believe in it.
I don't know. I think that might be true in certain mediums, but I think definitely in movies that's rarer.
You think?
I think so. Yeah.
It could just be a pure, like, fright thing. Like, they like just the horror aspect of it.
Yeah. I mean, well, and movies are wonderful. Horror movies are a really good vessel for larger ideas.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think it's less about the person, what like the creator believes, and more about what like the story they're trying to tell. So different kinds of paranormal activity in movies usually are used to represent different things.
Yeah.
And whatever the haunting is kind of the theme of the piece. So it's very different from talking about like true horror stories for that reason.
Yeah.
Because you have to view the ghosts or whatever is driving the horror as kind of an extension of
the person,
of the characters and the theme.
Yeah.
Then the characters are an extension of the theme, and it all just feeds into itself.
Yeah. I still want a true story about Hill House. Here's the problem: I've never had a paranormal experience. that I can, like, truly not wipe away with, like, oh, it could have been this, it could have been this. Like,
yeah.
you have.
And yet don't really believe in ghosts that
I
much.
know.
I'm much more skeptical than you are.
Yeah. I want to have an experience.
If you were a character in a movie, you would be so fucked.
I know.
Because you'd be like, I wanna get haunted. And then you would, and you'd, like, die.
Yeah. I'd get fucking possessed.
You'd be the first one.
Yeah, I know.
Although I would, too, because it's always, like, the people who die are always the ones who, like, want to believe, and the skeptic.
Yeah, and we're on opposite spectrums.
So, anything else you wanted to talk about?
Well, was there another theme that you were...
Mostly just the lesbian thing.
Cool.
I thought was really interesting. I mean, I can talk a little bit about Shirley Jackson's view of women as very oppressed members of society.
Well, I mean...
which permeates her entire body of work.
Yeah.
And this movie, but not the Mike Flanagan movie, which I think is interesting. Because that's not a theme at all in the show, but because this is a straight adaptation of the book, a little bit of that carries over into this movie. Although less than is in the book, and I think it's because it was written and directed by a man.
My man.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I actually felt like the women in the TV show were the strongest. It felt like it was almost like trying to, like, change the narrative and not view them as, like, just women who are oppressed and try to, like, uplift them. So it felt like it was acknowledging that and then trying to change the narrative.
Yeah.
Instead of just completely ignoring that.
Well, that's very in line with Mike Flanagan's filmography. All his movies are the protagonists are female.
Yeah. What has he done?
He did a movie called Abstentia, which is really good. He did Oculus.
Oh, Oculus is
and
good.
Ouija, Origin of Evil, Before I Wake, Hush, and then Gerald's Game, which is really good.
Oh, I have yet to
and
see.
then Hill House. But that's always, he's very focused on strong women.
Yeah.
And women overcoming, like, fear or instability and becoming strong. Mm-hmm. And he's married to the woman who plays Theo in the show.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
But Shirley Jackson was very focused on the neurosis of women as a result of oppression. So all her characters are very, like, repressed, like, very out of touch with themselves and feel very out of place in the world that they're in.
Yeah.
Which is it's as interesting an extension of her as Mike Flanagan's fixation on women. And I don't mean that in, like, a gross way.
Yeah.
But I do, and allow me to speak for someone else for a little bit. But I does feel to me like he's just much more comfortable. He probably identifies more with his, like, female side, his more, like, quote unquote feminine side.
Yeah.
More, like, emotional, more thoughtful. And he probably just finds it easier to express his thoughts and ideas through women. Nell in the book is super neurotic and super, like, fragile. And I think if she were written by a man, we might have a different view of it, because it'd be very easy to view her as a kind of a stereotypical, like,
crazy
woman. But
yeah.
When you know that it's written, it comes from Shirley Jackson and fits into her body of work, it kind of adds a level of complexity and depth to that character.
Yeah.
Because it's very, not a lot of, I feel like not a lot of women wrote from that perspective during her time. That the kind of, like, frenzied, because her characters feel very grating to me. Like, she writes people who are very at odds, not only with, like, my own sensibility, but with the sensibilities of the world around them.
Yeah.
And which it probably was an extension of how she felt about herself. Being this very, like, prolific writer who often wrote in, like, genre fiction, which is typically very male-dominated. Like, horror is a very, at least from a creator perspective, very male-dominated.
Yeah, for sure.
And she wrote a couple of pieces in horror.
Yeah.
But she wrote these really, like, kind of frenzied, harrowed women that felt very much like they were suffering the consequences of the time period that they were in.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with all of this. But I just think it's interesting.
Yeah.
Some of that carried over into the movie, some of it didn't.
Yeah.
I think that's just a result of the writer not
being
picking
a
up
woman.
on that. Yeah, not understanding that, like, what kind of...
Yeah.
What Nell's character was.
Yeah.
And kind of what it was about. So there's some subtext that's lost in the movie.
Yeah.
That's there in the book. But, it's still good. Like, you still get the stuff with her relationship with her sister.
Yeah.
and her sister's husband,
Yeah.
and her mother, and all this idea of kind of like pressure on her to be a certain way,
Yeah.
to kind of be a like woman, quote
Sure.
unquote, like a caretaker.
Yeah. And that she failed that.
Right.
Because her mother died on her watch, quote unquote.
Potentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I
As
mean-
her sister apparently blames.
Believes, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, according to the movie, that is what happened.
Yes.
Because there's no allusions in the movie to
That
that
it
being-
didn't,
Right.
yeah.
That's just something that was in the book.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, I
It's a
enjoyed
really,
it.
it's a really interesting text, and I would be really interested to see like other interpretations of it as
Yeah.
well. This is a rare case where I actually want more,
Yeah.
and I'm not like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, for sure.
Even though there are really 3 extremely high quality versions of it, I'm not burnt out on it as a subject matter.
No, because it's really interesting, and it's especially with the TV show, not doing a remake, but like he said, like a remix of
Yeah.
it, and kind of taking the story and the characters, but then putting it in a different context, and I'd like to see more of that.
Yeah.
I would honestly love to just see more of the TV show. I know it
Yeah.
probably won't happen, just because like it had such a definite ending, and there's not... I feel like you probably couldn't go too much further with the story.
Well, actually, Mike Flanagan has stated that there will not be more show with the Crane family, but that
maybe...
he hasn't heard from Netflix if they want a second season, but I don't see why they wouldn't.
I feel like it
the
did.
first one was really, really successful.
Yeah, it did really well,
Yeah.
and it got really good reviews, and
It got really good ratings too.
Yeah.
They released their like year end, but like they released a year end like these were the most popular things on
Yeah.
Netflix. I think it was like the 4th or 5th most popular
yeah,
show.
yeah,
So I would imagine that there will be a season 2 at some point.
yeah, but not with the Crane family.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And interestingly, another thing that I picked up, fun fact, was that the daughter of the family that originally lived in Hill House,
Yeah.
her name was
Was it Abigail?
Abigail.
Yeah.
Yep. It was Abigail Crane. And Crane is the last name of the family that was there. And Abigail
Yeah.
was the name of the little girl
That's
ghost
interesting.
that befriended Luke.
Yeah.
And what ended up being the daughter of
The
the caretakers of the house, the Dudleys, which
Yeah.
are the same, basically same characters.
Yeah.
Another
it's
one
a,
for
it's
you.
a remix. Like he really
I know
really
it was
picks up-
so like he really specifically picked
Yeah.
things that were all related to the movie. I haven't read the book, but you said the movie is kind of just a take on the book.
Yeah, well, he also picked stuff out of the book that wasn't in the movie. So it's cool that you can tell that he really cared about this material.
Yeah, and it paid off.
It paid off.
It was
in a big way.
Yeah, it was really
And I think
a successful reiteration of the story.
And I think that reading the book, watching The Haunting, and watching The Haunting of Hill House make a good tandem experience.
Yeah.
And I would recommend doing all 3. I think you can watch just the movie and the show and be fine. Or you can watch the movie or the show and be fine.
Yeah.
Because all versions are good. But it definitely gives... It I think that's why it makes it feel real.
Yeah.
Like these are different people reporting on the same thing almost through different like time periods.
Yeah. Because it's like there's also, just to continue talking about like the parallels, but like there's Nell and Theo sitting on Theo's bed, freaking out because the walls are pounding, which happened in the TV show too.
Yeah, and just a visual cue that I appreciated was that it was filmed in the same way.
Yep, like
With the camera just
panning around the room.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then there was the Nell, although in the show it was Theo who thought she was holding Nell's hand.
Yeah.
But it was a ghost, and in the movie it was flip-flopped. It was Nell who thought she was holding Theo's hand.
And really subtly, the very first second that you're introduced to Theo when she's unpacking, she takes off a pair of gloves.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, like
That's
leather
fun.
gloves,
Yeah.
like from the TV show.
Yeah, and then the Theo was also clairvoyant in the show.
Yeah. In the movie, it wasn't as much of a tactile thing. Like, it was just more of, like, she could, like, basically, like, read your mind or see your future or whatever.
Very,
It was,
very general sense,
yeah. And then the TV show is much more specific to physical touch. But she was wearing leather gloves, and she took them off first thing when she's unpacking her stuff in the room, too.
Yeah.
So that's a really fun, like, little thing as well.
Yeah, it's cool. It's an interesting way to build mythology around a fictional location.
Yeah.
It's fun. And I you know, the show and the movie don't take place in the same like universe. They don't, you know, they're separate works of art, but when you take them in context of each other in the book, it paints a very interesting picture. Mm-hmm. And I like that method of storytelling. I think it's very interesting.
Yeah.
And I'd be very interested to see like a season 2 of The Haunting of Hill House, or even a direct remake of the movie in someone else's hands, coming at it from a different perspective.
Well, and even if they did like a second season of Haunting of Hill House, but more directly taken from the book/movie and doing it actually in the lens of someone going in and doing a paranormal investigation.
That's true. Yeah. My fear is that it would just become a straight anthology show, like American Horror Story, which I don't like and I don't want.
I know. Well, and that's the thing. I'm like, I don't necessarily, like, I want another season, but I don't at the same time, because I like it's so perfect as it is.
It would have to be the right second season.
Exactly.
You know what would be horrible?
What?
If they did a Conjuring-style spin-off show that was like, you wondered about the Crooked Man, or was the dude with the bowler hat, the ghost with the bowler hat?
Oh.
Find the shocking untold story of the man with the bowler hat.
But we know what it is.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
The guy with the bowler hat?
It's him. It's Luke.
No, you're getting it mixed up with Nell being the bent neck.
Well, lady. I know that Nell is the bent neck lady. Oh, wait, was it?
No, you just made that up.
I did?
Yeah.
Luke had the hat. Did he give him the hat? Or is
Luke, well, okay. In a metaphorical sense, the dude with the bowler hat was Luke's inability to cope with being an adult, because when his dad gives him the hat, he's like, only big boys get to wear this hat, and then it turns into a monster.
Yeah.
So that it represents Luke's fear of growing up and taking responsibility for himself.
But we don't actually know the history.
It is a physical entity in the house as well.
True.
Because you see it there
multiple times
when Stephen and Hugh go back.
Yeah.
There's that really great scene where they enter, and then they're like frozen, and the guy with the bowler hat like peers his head in between them and looks around. It's so good.
Reminds me of that time that I went to a haunted house when I was like 13.
Mm.
We went to one of the scariest haunted houses in Portland. When I was like 12 or 13. And we had to have an adult with us because they wouldn't let us in by ourselves because we were so young. But like, I feel like that should have been a sign that we shouldn't have gone.
Maybe.
But very similarly, like, we went into this room and there were like, it was almost kind of like, felt very like prairie-like, because there was like a clothesline and clothes were hanging up, and there was like a carriage that had like turned over in the corner. And we're looking around, we didn't see anyone, and we're like, okay. And then all of a sudden, this like 7-foot man pops out from behind the carriage and freaks us out. My friend's dad literally abandons us in the room. I'm in the middle, like holding onto my friend's hand and her sister's hand, and he like corners us, and my friend makes like a dart for the right, and he like pretends to like fall over and try to like grab her. So now he's like on the ground, and then my friend's sister darts the other way, and I'm fucking left in the corner, and I'm just like, I'm gonna look at my feet, I'm not gonna pay attention, I'm not gonna look at him. And then he like scoops his head underneath like to meet mine, and I just burst into tears. And he literally, I like just started sobbing.
Yeah.
And he like broke character for a second. And he was like, you can go, it's fine. And like he felt so bad for me that he broke character, because I just burst into tears. But it felt very much like that scene. I was like, oh, PTSD. Like,
and now we know why you're doing this podcast. There's your childhood trauma.
Yep, there it is.
I hate haunted houses.
I know. I still like them.
You like have Stockholm syndrome.
I do. Well, I enjoy haunted corn mazes more, because it's like, I don't know. I feel like I have a little bit more freedom because I can like
run.
walk. I can, like, run and, like, walk around, but, like, when you're in a haunted house, it's like you have to go room to room.
I feel about haunted, like, experiences the same way that other people feel about movies, where I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you scare yourself like that? That's so stupid. All right.
Okay.
I feel like we have beaten The Haunting of Hill House into the ground. We've discussed it so much.
We have.
I have nothing else to say about it.
Yeah, I don't...
It's pretty impressive. I don't often feel that way.
Yeah, you usually will talk till you fall asleep.
Yeah, and after I fall asleep.
It's true, you do talk in your sleep.
Yeah. So, but I'm good until we do the episode on the show. And then I'll have a lot more to say, I'm sure. Okay. Anything else you want to add? Good. Okay.
We don't have any social media contact
Nope,
information
this
yet.
isn't a real podcast yet.
Not yet. So we can't plug anything.
Nope.
We don't have any sponsors.
Nope.
Just Papa Murphy's.
Papa Murphy's and old movies that no one cares about anymore.
That's why we're here.
Yep. Next week we're going to have to... This is a good test episode. I think next week we should do an episode related to something that's, like, current. Mm-hmm. In some way, and we can, because I guess I can stop recording now. Anyway, that's the show. Bye.
Ew.